Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Along the Lanes, my knitting podcast. And we've got a very special edition today where I will take you through London and we'll visit some yarn shops and we'll visit the pop-up marketplace from the Yarn Crawl. It was an absolutely fantastic day out. I really enjoyed it. I thought I'd do the editing right away, but turns out it took me 2 days to recover. It was a 20,000 steps kind of day according to my Fitbit, and I just had such a lovely time. I'm now rested and recovered, and I've gone through over 100 clips of video footage to get all the best bits for you. So time to grab your knitting, sit down and enjoy the show. I would recommend subscribing because I met some really lovely people while I was on the Yarn Crawl, including some that I would love to interview in future podcasts. So you can subscribe here, you can subscribe there, and you can say hi on Twitter. I'm Vero, and on Ravelry and Instagram where I'm That Canadian Girl. And the story begins on Friday night. Okay, so it's Friday night, tomorrow's the Yarn Crawl, so I've got my stuff ready, I think, most things. So, let's see. Umbrella. It's not supposed to rain, but it's London. It's bound to happen. I've got my phone, charging it tonight, got my charger for my phone, got the camera, well, the camera's there, but got the camera case and a spare battery. I've got my knitting for the trip, which I'll show you in the morning, don't worry about that. Can you tell I don't like having dirty hands? So I've got hand sanitizer and some, don't ask, KFC wipes for my hands. I've got glasses cleaner. I've got my lip gloss and some Kleenex and my notebook that contains the list of yarn no, actually I'm lying. There's no notes this year. Last year I made notes in my lovely little notebook of exactly what I was going to buy. This year, you know what? Haven't even thought about it yet. Got my Oyster card and I'll put my little knitting bits in there. Everything's going in my backpack. I think that needs some improvement. That is a whole lot better. Excellent. Now here's a message to me from 3 days ago. Where did you put your Ravelry badge? I know I've got it somewhere. I know I put it somewhere really, really clever. Somewhere I wouldn't be able to miss it. When I'd get to Friday night, I'd be able to find it. No idea where it is. It's going to be a miracle if I have it tomorrow morning. Okay, so tomorrow's an early start. Got to be up at 6 and got to be out the house by 7 or so. So I think it's an early night. Bye. And so the day begins. With caffeine.
And the soya one, the extra hot.
Thank you.
Chocolate coffee?
No thanks.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
It's too early to knit.
Saturday morning, we finally have all of our sheep gathered together. We had a little bit of an impromptu split up where we went to Cambridge train station and some of us got on the train a little early and ended up at the wrong train station, and we've now all regathered and rejoined, so everyone's got their knitting out. We're heading to Liverpool Street and then onto Chelsea Town Hall where it's all starting with the pop-up marketplace. Check out these beauties. So the gorgeous Mind the Gap yarn, which is suitable for today's theme, as we'll be taking probably the tube, the train and the bus today.
Does it say, that will say that in the book? Oh yeah, it says that in the book.
They're amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Excuse us, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2.
Just left Handweavers Studio and we're now arriving at Nest, where here there's yarn, there's cake, and there's loads of lovely people. Buttons!
Already?
Yesterday. Yes, that's what it
Came in yesterday afternoon, so
and this part, and I'm still at the first one. Do I need 4 because I'm afraid there are?
yeah, me too. So we're more than happy to go back and copy
For our second stop, we're in. Which shop are we in? I'm totally blank. For our second stop, we are in Nest, and I have just picked up some fantastic Cornish tin in 4-ply, which is a special limited edition from Blacker Yarn. So those are the colors that are left. So this is the burgundy from Blacker Yarn's Cornish tin, and I've taken all of the burgundy and I love it, and it's coming home with me. So I've got 4 skeins. It's 350 meters in that you knit on about 3mm. So if you have suggestions for cardigans or pullovers that you would make in this color with about 4 skeins times 350, I'll take recommendations.
My work on earth is done.
Beautiful colour.
Love that. And I think I never went out not very much. But that'll go because you can see through it, so you can also wear, you know, contrasted colors. Yeah, and also, right? I'd wear that. I'm Kate, apparently you know that. Go for Charlotte and make one body art. Oh, yeah.
So much stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Does it make you want to hit the road and visit some yarn shops? It was a really brilliant day, and you've had a bit of a sneak peek of some of the yarn that I've picked up, but I think it's time to show you everything I've picked up. Let's start with the Handweavers Studio. So it's worth mentioning, each and every one of the shops kindly gave us some bags. So I think this is probably my favourite one, because it's a bit different to the other ones. So that's from the Handweavers Studio. And one thing I really regret at that shop is that I didn't take any video of the indigo dyeing workshop that was happening outside. So they had various types of fibers, yarn, and even paper that was being dyed using indigo. So that gives you a deep, rich blue color, and not every type of fiber takes the blue in quite the same way. So it was really interesting to see just on a clothes rack, just all of the different types of fiber lined up ready to just dry out. They run numerous workshops, and I'm really interested in their weaving workshop. Just recently I started getting back into weaving slightly, but it's something that I find a bit trickier than usual. Ravelry has such a wealth of documentation and just people happy to answer questions about knitting, but I find it a lot more tricky to find answers when it comes to weaving. I know that the wise thing to do would be to spend more time with my local guild, but that hasn't happened yet because Saturday mornings are at a premium. So weaving, something I might get back into, but I found something really lovely that I will use for knitting while I was at the shop. I picked up some, what's it called? Regoledo, which is some sparkly, this one is kind of sparkly, tealy, greeny blue yarn that I will hold double with some DK weight, which I haven't identified yet, to make a pullover that's the norm from Pom Pom. It's something that came out, I think, a couple of years ago maybe, and it looks great. It's kind of a slightly oversized pullover, not quite cropped, but also not particularly long, and I think this with something in the greeny blue, silver, greyish range of colour would really look lovely together. So that was my purchase from the Handweavers Studio. Our second shop was Nest in Crouch End, and again, just such a lovely welcome. They had their own little bake-off where they'd made a banoffee pie, a chocolate cake, and a Victoria sponge for us, and they were just so lovely and welcoming. I had a really lovely look around, and in the end I took all of one particular colour of a very, very special yarn. So that, I already mentioned that one, but before I get to that, let me show you the bag they gave us. So again, a lovely large size bag with their branding on one side, but a very special story on the other side. It's called the Make and Donate Recipe for Knitted Dolls. And it's a full pattern. So it's a pattern to make little knitted dolls, which the owner of the shop, I think her name was Jen, who was incredibly welcoming, told us she had discovered, I think from her grandmother, and it was a pattern for making little knitted dolls, which you can make with lots of odds and ends. And I just thought it was a really lovely touch to print and include a pattern which gives you some story of things that mean a lot to her. So now on to the yarn that I bought there. That was a lovely bit of splurge. It's the Cornish tin. I kept calling it burgundy when I was excitedly going around the shop. They call it wheel rose red. And I think it's hard to do this color justice on camera. It's it uses so many different types of wool. Do they list the full thing? In fact, let me give you the full description from Ravelry because it's way more exciting than what they could fit on the label. So, as I mentioned, this is a special yarn to celebrate their 10 years of Blacker yarns, and the fibres are listed on here as 70% wool, 10% mohair and 20% alpaca, which in itself is really lovely. But here's a real description from Ravelry. So again, the 20% from their Huacaya alpacas, 20% merino wool, and then 10% is mohair from their goats, 10% is Teeswater, which is long, very lustrous locks from the Teeswater sheep, 10% Shetland, 10% Black Welsh Mountain, 10% Jacob, and 10% Gotland. So these are all of the fibers that they use normally, but all merged into one very special edition yarn, and I'm just so pleased that I picked it up. It's a little bit unusual, it's a purely British wool, and it just feels like such a lovely celebration. So I've got 4 skeins of this one, and I'm sure that within a few podcasts I'll tell you what I'll make out of it. I haven't quite decided yet, but if you can get your hands on any of it, I do recommend it. I think it's quite a limited run edition, but it's really, really lovely. It's kind of got a good crunch to it, but while being still soft, and I'm sure once washed they'll be even softer. So that was Nest. Nest was an absolute pleasure, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, so that's Nest. Now the next shop, we went to what I would imagine is possibly one of the poshest yarn shops in London. It's a very popular one, very well known, and even though I'd been last year on my previous yarn crawl, I couldn't wait to go back because, in fact, the yarn that I got for my Hitafude came from Loop, and it was quite fun to wear it to go back to Loop because it felt like it had kind of run its path and it had lived its life. So I'm getting excited already. So the bag from Loop, you'll be familiar with their logo. So again, a very special year for them in that it's 10 years since the Loop shop opened, and they've got a lovely book that's come out to celebrate that 10-year anniversary, which was available at the shop, but I think it's also available online, and it contains just some lovely patterns, but also they've got a particular style with their photography that I really like, and the book kind of celebrates that as well as including patterns. So I bought 2 things while I was in Loop. First, which one am I going to show you first? First, I got a single skein of Madelinetosh Tosh Merino Light in kind of a, I'd say more than semi-solid, more variegated almost, quite tonal, tealy green. It's a single, and I think that'll just be a cowl or something really nice and kind of warming and comforting. So I'm really happy with this. I think this is going to be just very soft and cozy, and probably a present for somebody very special. Maybe something special for my little sister, I don't know. And then I knew that 2015 has very much been, for me, the year where I start making garments and wearing my own hand knits, rather than always making shawls and mittens and hats. So I decided that I was going to make my first lace garment, lace weight, because the Hitafude was a lace patterned garment, but that was in sock weight. So I have picked up 2 beautiful steely grey skeins of the Eden Cottage yarn in Theseus lace, and that is 75% merino and 25% silk, and it's 800 meters per skein, so I've got 1600 meters, which should be sufficient to make my very first and hopefully not last featherweight cardigan. It's a pattern that I've always really looked forward to making, knowing I'd make it one day, because I think it's just dainty and graceful while being very, very simple. There's no big lace pattern, there's no big complexity. I think it'll look great in such a simple color, so it's just kind of a very light, graceful grey. Again, what's up with me in greys? I'm usually a magpie for colour, and this is going to be my third or fourth grey garment, but no regrets, love it. And then I've got my final bag, which includes the little things that we received from the Yarn Crawl organisers who'd arranged goodie bags for everyone, which was very, very nice, but also the little bits that I bought during the pop-up marketplace. So first, in the goodie bag, these aren't labelled, but I believe they are they're Rowan. I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what they are. And I had these two colours, so this is a kind of creamy beige and this is a kind of very deep burgundy purplish colour. And then one of my teammates very kindly gave me their ball of it, which is a kind of khaki green. So the three go very well together, and I have to say I've never knitted with this kind of yarn construction, which is kind of a four-sided loopy kind of chain. It feels like a crochet chain. That's what it feels like. I'll look on Ravelry and I'll find out exactly what the yarn is. But I think I'm sure with these three colors, that's probably, not sure if that's 25 or 50 grams, but probably 25 each, I'm guessing. So 75 grams. I'm sure I can make something lovely with three colors striped together. So that was a very nice little treat. And let's see, of course, the classic, the thing you must have is the Yarn in the City Great London Yarn Crawl 2015 badge, which shows that you've survived the yarn crawl. And one of the things I've bought, which I think will accompany my Blacker Yarns cardigan, pullover, probably a cardigan, I'm guessing, is a set of buttons that I picked up from Textile Garden. And I think I always go to the Textile Garden stand at events for two reasons. So I love looking at buttons, I love buying buttons, and it's kind of, it's nice and easy. It doesn't feel like a big decision. You can choose a few buttons knowing that I'll enjoy using them at some point, even if it's not immediately. But also, I'll have to find out her name, but the lady who's at the stand for Textile Garden is always so lovely. I really enjoy chatting to her, and she's always very welcoming. I mean, pretty much everyone who's got a stand at events like that is a lovely, lovely person and very chatty, but I always really enjoy saying hi to her. Next time maybe I'll introduce myself properly rather than just chit-chat for a bit. And as far as the buttons go, I'll get there. I picked up 6 buttons, and these buttons look like they are metal, but in reality they are made of polyester, so they're kind of plastic. And the reason that appealed to me is because that makes them very light, and by being very light, they never cause your cardigan neckline to kind of droop down or be forced down, or if you leave it open it doesn't kind of tug it to one side. So I thought this time I'd try these polyester buttons rather than use metal buttons or standard plastic buttons. So I picked up 6 of these, and like I said, I think they'll be used with my Cornish tin yarn in the coming months, but just a really lovely stand. And oh, and Textile Garden also have a website, which is just textilegarden.com, where you can pick buttons, but there's something very tactile about looking at buttons in a shop. And there were various little bits, like I quite enjoy using soak. So soak is a rinse-free garment cleaner, so it's great when you're blocking. For example, I used soak when I blocked my hitofude. So this is a nice little sample. This is a flavor, a scent that I haven't tried yet, so I'm looking forward to using that. We also received... Where have they gone? Ah, there they are. A few stitch markers from basically my favorite stitch marker maker, if there is such a thing, from, I can't say it in English, the name's in French, and I have to say Friperie Bibelot. So I'll put the link in for you. But they are 4 little stitch markers that match the colors of the yarn crawl, and it's a very special edition for us. So 4 little stitch markers. In fact, I'll have to talk about those stitch markers again in the future, because they are my absolute favorite. We also each had a pattern. Mine's a little bit roughed up now because it's been in my bag over the whole weekend, but Kate Atherley's Walking on Sunshine socks, which are just brilliant. They're quite a nice wavy shape on the front of the socks. Lovely, cheerful. I'll have to talk about socks in a future edition, because I'm still not quite sure how much I love knitting socks. I think I do, but they never quite fit. So if somebody has magical tips for knitting the perfect socks, I'll take those tips any day. And finally, there's the lovely tote bag from Yarn in the City, which was given to us at the beginning of the day. And I loved how they gave out some of the prizes this time, where in each team there was a golden needle gauge, and the person with the golden needle gauge would win one of the prizes, and it just simplified the process of handing out prizes, and it ensured that there was one person in each team. Did you see in the beginning of the video these absolutely amazing Mind the Gap socks? So that's a very special yarn, and again it's somebody from Cambridge who won this year's skein of Mind the Gap. The reason the Mind the Gap yarn is so lovely and popular, or coveted I should say, it's not popular because there's not that many skeins of it, is because it's a self-striping yarn. So if you're using it for socks, you get these nice little kind of 1 centimeter thick stripes, and it covers all of the colours of the London Underground. So what more perfect theme could you have for the day? So I hope you enjoyed my coverage of the London Yarn Crawl for this year. I've got loads of stuff that I want to talk to you about. I feel like I still need to deal with the trolley of shame next week, so I already can't wait to record the next episode. But thank you for hanging out with me for this episode, and I hope you enjoyed your grand tour of London, and I shall see you next week for episode 6 and for much more knitting and finished projects, and of course in between there's most likely going to also be the tutorial on how to block a lace cardigan using my hitofude as an example. Can't wait to show you that. It's all recorded, I just need to edit it. So see you next week. Bye bye.